I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, has council had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes from the 19th, 26th, and 27th? That's in our packets. If so, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion. We approve the minutes.
Do we have to do them separate because of the abstentions?
Because of the workshops and all that?
Was I have to abstain from the 19th? Mary would have to abstain from the 27th. Just duly noted.
It's noted.
Okay.
Okay.
Michael, would you like to second that?
I can do that. I'll second that.
All right, motion from Becky, second from Mike. Any discussion? The only discussion was Rick was absent on the 19th and I was on the 27th. So we'll abstain from those, but those in favor can state aye. Aye. Opposed, carried. Changes to this evening's agenda. Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion for the set agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion from Mike, second from
Rick.
Rick?
It's going to be one of those evenings again. All right, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Guests in open forum. All right, seeing no movement, we'll move on to committee reports. Park and Recreation Commission Board. Josh.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Parks and Rec Commission met on July 28th. It was a pretty brief meeting, but some of the topics discussed. Staff is kind of doing some early investigations on skate park design costs. So Mr. Liston has done a lot of the legwork on that, gathering some information from people that do skate parks in other communities and just kind of getting a feel for what kind of expenses would be incurred should we pursue something like that. We also talked about the community gardens by the community center. As you're aware, the 10-acre development adjacent to that property would impact the current location of the community gardens. So staff and the commission was recommending the location being moved to Pleasant Valley. It's a nice watered location, central to good residential. So not having that go away completely from our park system, but finding a new location for it was discussed and had some support. And that was pretty much the gist of the meeting.
All right, thank you. How about Planning Commission?
Well, planning, we have agenda items 8A through G pretty much tonight. Everything on the meeting was discussed at Planning Commission, so we will save that for there.
All right, well, nice, good hard work you did for tonight. How about Golf Committee?
Go ahead.
Golf Committee, we went over financials. Everything's looking great for our year-over-year revenue comparison, and we just went over the budget.
All right.
Yeah, that's it.
At Joint Planning Board, we had the CUP for Excel Energy's line transmission, which is also on our agenda as letter E tonight, so cross that. And then Night to Unite was last night, and we went around with our fire and police, and we enjoyed a hot, humid evening with our fellow citizens. It was a great time, so. Any others?
As Brent put it, they would sweat it out for me or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah, it was a warm evening, yes. All right, we'll move on to board, committee, and consultant reports. We have rezoning of a 10-acre parcel for Avion Homes. Mr. Sanders. And Jacob, I think we have.
Better get comfy up there.
I need a bar stool so I can sit tall and not. Well, good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you, the first item of several related to Avalon Homes is we have a rezone for this property for the 10 acres. We do have a purchase agreement with the developer. And as part of this, the rezone is required since it's currently public. It fits with the comprehensive plan, so its future land use is high density, which would put it in the R3 zoning. So this proposal is for R3 to be zoned. It will be a planned unit development, which is allowed under R3. Gives them a little more latitude on some of the setbacks. There's no fiscal impact. Planning Commission reviewed and approved via the PC Resolution 2212. So this would be an ordinance, not a resolution, since any rezone that we do is actually it's listed within the zoning code. So I was seeking for a motion and a second, approving ordinance 255 second series, and 255 second series for summary for publication. And I will note, I just saw, hold on one second. Nope, that's correct. So, any questions on the rezone?
I don't hear any.
If nobody's got any questions on it, I mean, we went over this in detail at Planning Commission. So I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 255 second series.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Rick. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Then I'll make a motion for posting ordinance 255 second series.
I'll second.
Motion from Mike, second for Becky for the publication of ordinance 255, second series. Any other discussion on that? None. Those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, one down. Jacob, the conditional use permit for Avion Homes.
Yeah, so with the same property, a conditional use permit is required for planned unit developments. With each one of these, there was a public hearing again held at Planning Commission that there was a lot of discussion about. We didn't receive any written formal comment except from the county on this one related to some of the traffic pieces, which we discussed at Planning Commission and we'll discuss here. There was a number of comments just from surrounding neighbors, but other than that, we didn't have any other formal. This is a 22 single-family townhome with 2 apartment buildings and 3 outlots, and there will be some right-of-way in there. The right-of-way will be aligned. The PUD is a requirement of the PA that we do have with Avalon Homes, as well as one of the requirements is related to completion of the apartment building. So the rezoning that you just approved has taken place. Planning Commission did recommend approval of the request. Did you all have a chance to review the resolution that's attached, 2254, and the conditions?
Yes, all 37 of them.
Yeah, there are a lot of them, but they do cover in-depth everything. So staff is seeking for a motion and a second approving resolution 2254, approving the CUP for a planned unit development to be known as Avalon Estates. Any questions on the resolution or conditions or findings?
You said you received a comment from the county?
Yeah, related to, so they'll be requiring, one of the things, and I know we just got another one today, they'll require that the community center, that entrance be closed off because the distance between the two would be too short. It's just not safe. But they did recommend, even a few years back when they were going through the RFP, there were some comments made from the same vein. They would prefer to align fairway, line it up if there was to be anything like that, so they would come in off that and remove that entrance into the community center on the south side. So that's really what their comments are related to. There's also going to be, they'll have to restripe the left-hand turn lane in the center of Sherburne Avenue, and then the right-hand turn lane coming south on Sherburne into the development would have to be put in. And that's kind of some of the things we discussed last time, the right-hand turn lane.
Yeah. Yeah, there already is a left-hand turn lane there.
Yeah, they'll just have to restripe so it's dedicated to that.
It sounds like that would actually add additional safety, especially for those fairway lane individuals that want to walk across and utilize a path, so.
Yep, and I think that's part of why they said dedicate, make sure, and to line it up.
Yeah, we're probably gonna end up having to put a crosswalk in there.
So,
Yeah, it would make sense.
and the conditions in here just related to the safety piece are fairly robust. That's something that the engineers, Public Works, we have all looked at and will continue to look at as we do some of these revisions, final revisions going into this.
I think the key word there is continue to look at, because the majority would say of the comments at the public hearing, the comment, we kind of spread it out, but if we were to, the comments probably properly belonged with this public hearing right here. And, you know, there were a number of comments, and they were some folks that lived on Fairway Lane. And, you know, if you think of right now, when there's, you know, there's no development there, anybody who drives anywhere near the school in the morning knows that that's a nightmare to get in and out of. And now we introduce more, you know, we're gonna introduce more potential traffic there. And so they had concern there. So I think it's important to note that we, number one, are continuing there. Number two, the document that we're looking at here would be items that we would be asking the developer to do in the form of a CUP, and the developer is gonna be working on his, you know, their 10 acres. The issues with traffic are gonna be more our issue or the county's issue, not the developers in this specific instance, so.
That's a good point. I think to your point, that's something, one of the things too that's hard on some of these is to gauge exactly what the impact will be. So the engineer has looked at projections on, you know, okay, how much does this add, where will it go? And then as we go forward, the city will have to look at, you know, the safety impacts and how do we address those.
When I was thinking about the safety aspect of what has been laid out for us in this plat, it'll change the habits of people that think that is a cut across, a shortcut through the community center, that back road. So I think this would change those habits as well. So I agree, continuing to monitor and watch to see if there's any.
And a lot of the people that will be living there will use that back driveway.
True, and I would think a lot of those people would probably allow their children to walk to the middle school or to the high school versus a vehicle. But again, so again, continual, that's the key word.
Even right now, I use the back entrance more than I do. I very rarely go through the front.
Oh.
It's just, I don't know why, it's just easier.
Well, you come from the other side, so, yeah.
Not always.
But point being is that was a concern. I think everybody on the planning commission had, and I think everybody here can understand that as well, that, you know, so, it is, point being is that it is still being looked at. So.
You know, one of the complaints they had is that we didn't have numbers. Well, you, kinda hard to have numbers when the thing's not even there. You know?
Oh, like traffic count.
Yeah, so you gotta play it by ear as time goes on and see what it is, and we might have to make some changes. You know, we might not have to, I don't know.
Sure.
We'll have to wait and see.
All right. Anything
other-
else to add? No? Okay.
You have any other questions? Make a motion, we approve resolution 2254.
I'll second.
One, can I say, oh, you seconded, that's okay. Can I make one minor amendment? This is something Craig just brought up. It shows in there, in the second whereas on the first page, it says Registrar of Titles.
Yes.
Probably should say County Recorder, or Recorder's Office, Sherburne County. So if we can change that to the Office of the County Recorder. So to amend that resolution, sorry.
Okay, then I'll make a motion, we approve the resolution as amended,
Thank you.
2254.
I'll second.
Motion from Mike, second from Becky. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
All right, preliminary and final plats of Avalon Homes. Oh, Avalon Estates this time, sorry.
So the plat will be known as Avalon Estates. And prelim and final plat, the conditions are the same on both resolutions. So again, we've covered the lots, 22 single-family outlots. There are 3 outlots. One is a connection piece on the north side. Another one is related to probably some parking, golf court, storage, stuff like that. And then there's one on the very south side towards the community center, Outlot C. The plat will have 2 blocks, again, where the apartment buildings are. And then there will be kind of that pond area in the middle that they'll have with some other retention on the outside. The draft DA is also attached to this, so the development agreement. That's under review by the city attorney, so kind of pending any changes that they have, we'll bring that forward to have Jeremy sign and the city sign at the end. So the proposal is conditioned on that approval as well from the city attorney. Planning Commission recommended approval of the plat via PC Resolution 2214 and 2215. And have you all had a chance to review the developer's agreement and both resolutions 2255 and 2256?
So this is for the preliminary and the final plat, but are we approving the developers agreement tonight too? I guess I was not under the.
Yeah, the development agreement, and this has been the case in the past, typically they've been drafts anyway, you're not approving, it's just conditioned on the city executing.
Yep.
Cause those can be executed after the plat's been approved, so, no, you're not approving that, it's there for reference.
That's what I thought, okay.
If there
How
are no,
sold are we on this name?
ask, the developer is here, so you can
I
say.
would love to be able to say, I live on the back 9 estates on Birdie Lane.
Oh,
Like, think about how, I'm just saying. I know, where was I last week, right? Yeah, I know.
After Mary read 37 pages.
I thought you were gonna say Bertram Estates or something.
No. Well,
I was waiting for that too. I was like,
I was thinking like the back 9, like I live on the back 9. Birdie Lane, anyway.
I like it.
then we got
All right, so preliminary and final plats.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2255, approving the preliminary plat for Avalon Estates.
And the same thing on these two, registrar of titles.
I'll amend my motion to as.
Thank you.
As updated.
Thanks.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2256, approving the final plat for Avalon Estates.
With the same amendment.
Amended.
Yes.
Thank you.
I will second that one also.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion on that? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye. Aye. Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Yes. We are one step closer. All right, C Highway lock changes. Mr. Sanders.
Yeah. So, thank you, Mayor. We have before you an ordinance summary and a second series regular ordinance, and this is for lot coverage increase of 10% at C Highway. So this is C Highway only. There's been some discussion with Planning Commission for a few months, and we had the public hearing last time. And really what we're doing in this, if you notice within the summary and the second series, it'd be maximum lot coverage for anything that's greater than or equal to an acre in size stays at 75%. A lot of that's related to the NPDES permits, which is the National Pollution Discharge Permits. And anything less than an acre in size can go to 85%. Part of that is those lots are really narrow. They've been there for a long time, and some of the businesses are a little more intense, so it's harder to fit everything they need to on there. This would give them a little more latitude. You couldn't go to 100% because then you run into issues with driving all over onto the properties because it's right at grade with First Street. But Planning Commission felt that this was a good balance, and this is what staff recommended. So staff is seeking, and as far as public comment, I don't know if we really had a ton from public comment on there. We had a little bit from one of the business owners there, from the embroidery shop. And I don't think the other one really commented much, so. But positive on at least the 85% increase. Planning Commission,
Those lots were set up years ago, and
yeah.
they didn't even, I don't think they even had that stormwater storage regulation back when they were put in.
No, and much of this, part of the thing is if you even look at it, even 75% is still a fairly large amount of impervious, but again, due to some unique circumstances, it made some sense. And we did check it with Public Works as well, and they were okay with that. Kind of a minimal risk on the waterfront, but Public Works is okay with that. So, Planning Commission recommended approval, and we're seeking for a motion and a second approving Ordinance 256, second series, and 256, second series summary. No amendments in this one.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 256, second series, ordinance amending the City of Becker, Chapter 11, Section 1141, Subdivision 5.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
And I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 256 second series summary for publication purposes.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
All right, conditional use permit for Northern States Power Company.
Yeah, Excel. So this one is, they're doing a lot of work on the transmission lines out and down on Sherburne South. And part of that is related to, it was kind of nice because we had at Planning Commission a representative from Excel and kind of explained why. A lot of it relates to age of the power poles and the regulations that they have to have some shielding and some other things. So they have to change all of them out and go higher for these specific types of poles. We did ask if it
It's
was
an
related.
underrated line right now.
Yeah. So,
It was built back when I was a baby.
It's still working.
So it's still young.
Him and Pie Ingalls put it in.
so they're upgrading them in
It's
short.
old. And the upgrade is, there is substantially larger.
Substantially larger. Part of this requires, because of where they're going through on the south side of the road, the state has wild and scenic, which covers a good portion of Becker's south end along the Mississippi. The wild and scenic statute for any transmission corridor that's not under the Environmental Quality Board's review requires a conditional use permit from the local governing body, so the city in this case. So really, this is from statute is what requires us to do a conditional use permit. And you can see in the map there kind of what the rebuild is from Monticello up through. The resolution's fairly straightforward. The conditions relate mostly to the revocation, typically the safety precautions and any sort of pollution or anything like that control. Have you all had a chance to review that resolution? Okay. If there are any questions, I can answer those. If not, staff is seeking for a motion and a second approving resolution 2257, approving the conditional use permit for Northern States Power.
Maybe just a comment too, that we clarified at the planning commission that was like the same day that the Excel had made the announcement about the large transmission project going to southern Minnesota. This has nothing to do with that. This is just simply a line replacement. Would have happened regardless, is not related to that.
Actually, it's the
Yeah.
line that feeds the city of Becker.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point.
So if nobody's got any other questions, I'll make a motion to approve resolution ordinance. Let's see, where are we here?
Resolution.
2257.
It's all right, we've had a number of them.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Motion from Mike, second from Rick. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. All right, I think that's the end of your list. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Amending Chapter 7 of the City Code related to regulation of grass, weeds, and trees. Mr. Lisson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tonight I have two items for you. First one is a proposed ordinance change 257 second series, looking to amend Chapter 7 of our City Code. Both of these items are related to, as we've had a couple of dry summers, we're looking to ways to help encourage our residents to not water their lawn as much, encourage some water conservation. So if one way to do that is asking them, giving them a little more leeway and letting them have a little bit longer grass in their yards. That way they don't have to water it. It's a little more hardy and can withstand the drier conditions, less water. So Chapter 7, it talks about the requirement that you cannot have your grass in the breadway or boulevard needs to be maintained at a height not to exceed 6 inches. I'm asking to change that to 8 inches. We did discuss this both at Public Works Committee and at the Planning Commission. There were no objections to the change. So if there's any questions, I can answer those. Otherwise, a motion and a second approving ordinance 257 second series, amending Chapter 7 of City Code would be appreciated.
I will make a motion to approve ordinance 257 second series, amending City of Becker Code, Chapter 7, Section 708, Subdivision 3.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 257 second series summary for publication purposes.
I'll second that also.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Amending Chapter 10 of the City Code related to maintenance of the private property. Mr. Lisson.
Yes, so this is ordinance 258, second series, looking to amend chapter 10, so section 10.21, subdivision 2, item C. It's referring to our definition of what regularly cut means. Currently, we define regularly cut as 6 inches. We're asking to change that from 6 inches to 8 inches to match what we have in chapter 7, so there's no confusion, no two numbers, so citizens get confused as to which is what and why do you have one way and one the other. So again, with the focus on water conservation, giving people a little more leeway to leave their grass a little longer so we can maintain our water supply better. We did, again, discuss it at Public Works and with the Planning Commission. There were no objections. I can answer any questions if there are any. Otherwise, a motion and a second. Approving ordinance 258, second series, amending chapter 10, section 10.21, subdivision 2, item C would be appreciated.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 258, second series, amending chapter 10, section 1021, subdivision 2, item C.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 258, second series, summary for publication purposes.
I'll second that.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. 2022 to 2026 auditing services contract. Mr. Ebensteiner.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So in front of you tonight, I have requests for approval of the 2022 through 2026 auditing services contract. So a little bit of background. We did go out for RFP. As many of our professional services contract, always best practice to go and see where we are with our fees and the service level. So we did go out and put out a request for proposal in May. We did receive 4 proposals. We had sent it to 6 audit firms. We did have a couple firms that, just because of staffing levels and just the timing of where our audit would fit in, decided not to propose. So we did have the 4. Finance staff, we did review those in detail. The decision matrix was included, so we looked through those proposals, scored them on a combination of items, including competence, reliability, availability, approach, comprehensive report experience, and then price. So through that scoring, staff does recommend accepting Abdo's proposal for city auditor. Just as a reminder, so we'll look at doing an initial contract for 2022, and then they'll just be each year we'll review and then re-up for each additional year. So a 5-year approval on the front end, but there will be renewal options after the first year. We did discuss at the July 14th Budget and Finance meeting budgetary and fiscal impact. I did include each of the annual fees there. Just an item to note, that fee does include a small additional fee for the comprehensive report. So for this year, we would like to do it's an award. It's an award certificate that you can do through the National GFOA. It just adds more value to your report. There's more a transmittal letter at the beginning, kind of summarizing the city, kind of some of our strategic objectives. Includes a lot of statistical information, so really will allow us to tell the financial story, tell the long-term planning story of our city. So there are some additional fees that are included in that. So after that first year, right around a 3.5% increase each year, which has been normal with our prior audit contract. So with that, I can answer any questions, or would be looking for a motion in a second to approve Resolution 2253.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2253, a resolution approving city auditor for years 2022 to 2026.
Second.
Motion from Becky, second from Rick. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor may state aye. Aye. Opposed, carried. Thank you. Consent agenda, Mr. LaRude.
Mayor Bertram and city council members, there are 3 items on the consent agenda tonight for council consideration. First one is a hiring and termination report for Pebble Creek Golf Club, which is revised, the Becker Community Center, and the police department. Number 2 is approving accepting a donation, a $5,000 donation from the Becker Lions Club for police equipment. And the third item is approving a noise exemption application for the Becker Community Center for the movie events on August 12th and 19th.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
Motion from Rick, second from Becky. Those in favor can state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Payment of the bills.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills.
Motion from Becky, second from Rick. Those in favor may state aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Anniversary announcements for the month of August. Josh Kua, the Recreational and Leisure Services Assistant Director, is celebrating his 4th year with us. And Troy Zilling, Wastewater Treatment Facility Operator Lead, is celebrating his 1st year with us. So congratulations to those gentlemen. Does council have anything else for the betterment of Becker? If not, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion from Rick, second from Mike. Those in favor can state aye. Aye. We are adjourned at 5:32.